Story number 5. The Osama bin Laden effect. If you don't remember, we faced the legacy. We faced the legacy of a mass terrorist who hated the United States. But the thing is that is the fact that I was reading a book about Al Qaeda that you can read on the website. It's actually available for sale, and it was talking about how I think there was a quote that said if you kill bin Laden, it's going to create 100 more. And we look at, I think we're reaching the anniversary of the Charleston, South Carolina shooting. And you look at all these mass shootings within the United States, domestic terrorism, and not only just domestic terrorism, but we have foreign terrorism as well. There was a man arrested outside of a New Jersey elementary school. He had a loaded gun. He had over 130 rounds of ammo in his trunk. There's also been tons of terrorist plots that the FBI has found cells all over the United States. So we've seen a lot of mass shootings. We've seen copycat terrorist attacks. We've seen a surge in how terrorism can become publicized. And we have to ask ourselves is what's just the plan of the terrorist Osama bin Laden in the first place? So the thing is that the Osama bin Laden effect may still be alive. And then there was a study they were finding out that there's even you talk about male jihadists, but there's also females who were inspired by the Osama bin Laden effect as well. And they're talking about how you thought male terrorists were bad, but there's actually female terrorists who are plotting to take down America, and not only just America, but disrupt the flow of things as well. So this story about Osama bin Laden and keeping his legacy alive when you talk about terrorism and blowing things up. And there was a report that surfaced about, I think they were claiming that the war on terror is actually murdering the environment. So terrorism is not only bad for people, but it's bad for the environment. They're drawing a connection between the Department of Defense and global warming. They're saying that because of all the bombs, the nuclear threats, the nuclear arsenals, the fact that you have to fuel all of these war machines and all these, they're saying that this is a threat. And when you have to attack terrorists, you're putting all these chemicals into the air. So this story it bumped all the way up to number 5. Very interesting story. The Osama bin Laden effect. The fact that you see how the bad apple, or the things that people start to generate, the hatred and the beliefs of believing that the earth needs to be cleansed of certain people, and blowing things up and sending suicide bombings in for the greater good of God's blessing. You see that it's not only a bad understanding of life, but it's actually destroying everything. Pollution. You look at some of the Muslim brothers, some of the Muslim brothers some of the Muslim children that have to live in these countries, some of the Christians. You look at what terrorism has done to these places. There's no men who can rebuild these places because they're blowing everything up. This is a real deal story. The Osama bin Laden effect is real, folks. There's even a story that surfaced about up to 24 Memphis police officers hurt in protest after deadly shooting. And it was talking about how a mosque leader, he believes that beating your wife is a way to remind women that she's misbehaved. So these are beliefs that are circulating. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with correcting people or standing up for things, but there's a lot of things happening. And I give credit. There was a story about how Jon Stewart, he went to bat for 9/11 victims in New York, and he won. I guess the House Judiciary Committee has approved funds for September 11 first responders. So these stories are surfacing, and this story will probably start to be digested a little bit more, because the effect that when people see things that can a certain type of way to protest, they find a way to involve innocent lives, and they start shooting people and mass shootings. And this story is actually a very, very real story. The Osama bin Laden effect, story number 5. You're in the media with me, Brian West. If you want to help me out in any way, all you have to do is visit www.methodinc.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I come here every week, hoping and praying that my voice and my studies, my time I spend to find these stories is influencing somebody, that somebody somewhere that is changing somebody's life for the better. I'm not a terrorist. I fought on the battlefield to fight against terrorism. But I hope that what I'm doing is for the greater good of the public. So if you want to help me out or do anything, you can visit www.method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. And that's really all it takes. I said I'm feeling like I'm doing the right thing.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.